Welcome to Sci-Fi Codes, your portal to thrilling sci-fi tales. Subscribe and let the mystery unfold. Chapter 1, The Valkyra. In the distant reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy, beyond the reach of Earth's most advanced telescopes, lay the homeworld of the Valkyra, a warrior race whose strength and power were unmatched. The planet, known as Valor, gleamed like a precious jewel amidst the stars. It was the heart of an expansive empire that stretched across star systems, ruled by fierce women warriors, the Valkyra, whose culture was steeped in the values of battle, conquest, and dominance. For centuries, the Valkyra had waged wars, conquering planets, solar systems, and entire star clusters with unrelenting might. Few civilizations dared challenge them. At the helm of this empire stood General Arena, the most fearsome of them all. With her silver hair, violet eyes, and skin the color of the deepest ocean, she radiated power. Her reputation was legendary, her battle record flawless. No one, not even the most formidable enemies, could withstand her leadership. But now, the Valkyra were bored. They had conquered every major opponent in their sector, leaving no worthy adversaries to face. Their thirst for challenge was unquenched, and it was in this discontentment that Arena agreed to an unusual mission, a reconnaissance trip to a tiny, insignificant planet on the edge of their maps, Earth. Chapter 2, The Earthly Encounter. Earth, General Arena mused as she sat in her command chair aboard the sleek Valkyra battlecruiser Leia. What a pitiful little rock. Her second-in-command, General Sora, was nearly as imposing as Arena herself. Wrapped in gleaming black armor, she smirked. Their technology is primitive. Their defense is laughable. They're no more advanced than the lizards we wiped out on Ploros 4. Arena's violet eyes scanned the holographic map of Earth, a small blue dot lost in the vast expanse of space. Humans, she said with disdain. They sound so fragile. It's beyond me how they've survived this long. The Valkyra had been monitoring Earth's communications and broadcasts, finding the humans' obsession with entertainment, wealth, and petty conflict amusing. It was a stark contrast to their own lives, which revolved around honor, strength, and the thrill of battle. Arena's lips curled into a smile. Let us visit them. It will be amusing to see their faces when they realize just how small they are in the grand scheme of the universe. With a simple wave of her hand, the Leia hummed to life and accelerated toward Earth, its cloaking technology rendering it undetectable. As they neared the planet's atmosphere, the crew gathered on the bridge, eager to witness this primitive world. Chapter 3, The Arrival. As the Leia descended through the atmosphere, its cloaking field flickered away, revealing the gleaming ship in all its terror-inducing splendor. Earth's radar systems immediately detected the ship, and alarms blared across military bases as jets scrambled to intercept. They think their machines can stop us? Sora sneered. How quaint. Moments later, the Valkyra ship hovered over New York City, casting a shadow so vast that it blotted out the sun. Panic erupted in the streets as civilians gazed up in awe and fear. The ship's engines rumbled like an ominous growl, sending tremors through the city. Arena stood at the front of the ship, her eyes scanning the chaos below. Open the bay doors, she commanded. The enormous doors of the ship slowly slid open, revealing a ramp that extended down to the street. Arena and her elite warriors descended in unison, their towering forms and shining armor creating an imposing spectacle. They moved with purpose, their eyes cold and calculating. The crowd parted as the Valkyra strode through, some cowering in terror while others stood frozen, unable to comprehend the sight before them. Arena's gaze swept over the humans, who seemed so small and insignificant, scurrying about like ants. She found it almost humorous. People of Earth, Arena's voice boomed, resonating through the streets, we are the Valkyra, conquerors of the stars. We have come to witness your world. Though it is barely worth our attention, look upon us and know that you are nothing in the grand scheme of the universe. The crowd murmured in fear and confusion, but Arena's eyes remained fixed on a single figure among them, a man standing tall amidst the chaos, his eyes locked on hers with an air of defiance. Chapter 4, David Cain. This man, David Cain, was unlike any other human the Valkyra had encountered. While the rest of the crowd ran in terror, he stood unflinching, his dark eyes meeting Arena's with a curious boldness. Interesting, Arena muttered, her curiosity piqued. As Arena approached him, the crowd parted, forming a circle around them. "What is your name, Earthling?" she asked, her voice a mix of intrigue and mockery. "David Cain," the man replied calmly, without a hint of fear. "You speak boldly for someone standing before the most powerful warrior race in the galaxy," Arena remarked, folding her arms across her chest. "Do you not fear us?" David shrugged, his expression unbothered. "I've seen a lot in my time. Fear doesn't change anything." Sara, growing impatient, stepped forward. "You speak too boldly for a man whose people are at our mercy," she growled. "Show respect before we show you how insignificant you are." "Respect is earned, not demanded," David shot back, his voice unwavering. Arena raised an eyebrow, intrigued by his courage. "Do you dare challenge us? Do you not realize what we could do to your world?" David's gaze never wavered. "I realize it," he said, "but strength isn't just about size or power. It's about will. If you don't stand your ground, you've already lost." Arena was silent for a moment, considering his words. There was something different about this human. His composure, his boldness, his refusal to cower, it stirred something in her. "Perhaps," she said slowly, "but I want to see what you're capable of." With a sudden motion, she extended her hand toward him, offering a challenge. David hesitated for a moment before reaching out, gripping her hand firmly. The shift in the air was palpable. Arena was no longer just a conqueror testing her superiority, she was now testing something else entirely. Chapter 5, The Duel. The streets of New York transformed into an arena of anticipation. The Valkyrae stood in a circle, forming a barrier around the two fighters. The humans, still in shock, watched from a safe distance. Military forces had arrived but were unsure of how to proceed. Arena stepped forward, her presence overwhelming. Her energy blade ignited with a sharp hiss, casting a shimmering glow across her face. "Do you wish to reconsider?" she asked, her voice laced with both challenge and mockery. "Yield now, and I may spare you the humiliation." David shook his head. "I've never backed down from a challenge." With that, the fight began. Arena's movements were a blur of speed and strength, but David, despite being unarmed, was quick and agile. His training as a Special Forces operative guided his instincts as he dodged her initial strikes. The crowd gasped as David evaded her energy blade with remarkable agility. Arena was impressed. "You're full of surprises," she admitted as David landed a solid blow to her shoulder, causing her to stumble back. "You're not so invincible either," David replied, breathing steadily. The two continued their duel, exchanging blows and counterattacks. Arena's strength was unmatched, but David's agility and strategic mind allowed him to hold his ground. For the first time, Arena found herself struggling against an opponent who was not only fearless but also capable of adapting to her movements. Chapter 6, A New Beginning. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the battle came to an unexpected halt. Arena lowered her blade, her chest rising and falling with the effort. She studied David for a long moment, her violet eyes filled with a mixture of respect and wonder. "You are not like the others," she said softly, almost to herself. "There is strength in you, a strength I did not expect from a human." David stood tall, his breath ragged but unbroken. "Strength comes in many forms," he replied. Arena turned to her warriors. "Hold your positions," she commanded. "We shall see if this planet is truly as weak as we thought." The Valkyrae who had come to Earth with mockery now found themselves in the presence of something far more complex, a world that was not as insignificant as they had believed. The encounter between Arena and David Cain would forever change the way the Valkyrae saw Earth and its people. As the crowd, still in awe, looked on, it was clear that the balance of power in the universe had shifted. Earth was no longer just a pitiful little rock. It had become a place where the will to stand against overwhelming odds was worth more than the might of any conqueror. And so, the Valkyrae, who had come to Earth with the intention of mocking it, found themselves at the threshold of a new understanding, one that would alter the course of their empire forever. Ready for more? Like, subscribe, and let's keep exploring the unknown together.